What is going on, family? What is going on, YouTube? Future grandbabies, not in that order. As you can see, it is another rainy day in the coastal empire. Not much going on here, except that I'm going to attempt to go to the farmer's market with my wife and then maybe come back and clean up this mess behind me, right? Who knows? I keep saying that, but I keep making a mess. You know I had to represent in this day and age. Of course, you know I got Casper with me, doing what we do, looking at this weather, mad that he's not out there. But if you've seen any of my previous videos, you'll know that I may start out when it's drying and get caught in the rain, but I never start in the rain. I'll ride in the rain. I just ain't gonna ride out in the rain unless I got to, unless I gotta be somewhere. That's the only way I'm gonna leave the house. I'm an older guy, you gotta excuse me, right? As an infantryman, I work harder, not smarter. I'm not trying to be out in the rain if I ain't got to. A lot of things that I do on this platform is really just to share with new riders, returning riders, those who've looking to get into it and not really sure. I'm I won't say brand new anymore. I'm about 15, 16 months in, tour bike riding, about to go on another tour here a little bit. I'm about to go to Tennessee and go hang out with a friend of mine out there in Southern Power Honda Sports out in Chattanooga, Tennessee. They're doing an event, I'm gonna ride some Gold Wings and some Honda vehicles. I'm an Indian guy, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, I'm an Indian guy. I'm a multi-bike guy, but I'm a motorcycle guy, so I do have other bikes, but my favorite bike today is the Indian, right? I ride the Indian Pursuit, 2024 Indian Pursuit, dark horse, metallic white, right? You've seen it already. And of course we call him Casper. That's my homeboy, takes good care of me, you know what I'm saying? And that's what I'm fond of these days. I also ride other bikes, but this is the bike of choice for 2024. So let's get back to the topic at hand while we watch this rain drop, right? 7 rules every touring rider needs to know. When you step into the world of touring, whether it's your first time or your first time in years, there's one truth you have to face, right? And if you don't believe me, ask any seasoned rider, and I hope they would agree. The road is unforgiving. It's not to say you should be scared to be out there. It's just saying you have to respect the road, right? Ground pounding is about fighting the elements, as I recently learned that what makes a person a ground pounder is breaking these state lines and not even necessarily breaking state lines, but just seeing what's in your state. For instance, if you go 3 hours out, ground pound a little bit, go seeing what's going on out there, riding in the rain, for instance, riding in the elements, hard winds, and surviving and overcoming and adapting. It's about conquering, at least in my eyes. That's what it's about enjoying the brotherhood of the road and sisterhood of the road with others. That's what ground pounding is to me. So touring is freedom, but freedom comes with responsibility, not just for yourself, but for everyone sharing the road around you. These are 7 rules that aren't just important, they're essential. So let's start off. Rule number 1. I got my trusty notes here in front of me, so I'm going to be reading a little bit from what I've written down, right? Rule number 1, respect the long game, right? Touring is not about riding fast. It's about making it there, right? Don't burn yourself out. Touring is a test of endurance, whether you know it or not, whether you mean for it to be or not. It is a test of endurance. Pace your speed, pace your stops, and for however you ride with tomorrow in mind. As some of you know, I've struggled with heat and humidity in this last riding season. So rule number 2, I will say this, and you do with it as you will. Gear is not optional, right? Long miles mean unpredictable weather. You don't know what's going to happen. Unexpected hazards. Your gear is a part of your life insurance, but make sure you have some of that if you're able to. A mesh jacket, of course, for the heat, rain gear. You need to carry that stuff with you. cold weather gear depending on what time of year you ride. I personally am an all-year rider. Fortunate in the coastal empire, the weather does get cold out here. I say the coldest I've been out on a bike in the last 16 months has probably been 28, 32, 28 degrees, somewhere in that range. And that's not counting the wind chill factor. So gear is not optional. Know your machine before you trust it. That's rule number 3. Know your machine before you trust it. I will tell you a story that I had happen to me when I was going cross country. I left, Savannah, ended up in Van Horn, Texas, a day or so later, and I forgot how many days it took me to get there. I think it was one day, maybe 2. It might have been 2 days. It took me to get to Van Horn, Texas. I had stopped a couple of places, but when I get to Van Horn, Texas, the weirdest thing happened. I went to a gas station. I could see the city lights. It's a small town, but I could see the lights in the horizon. So I was like on the outskirts, and it started to get dark. I said, well, let me go find this hotel, because I don't personally, I'm not fond of riding in the dark. And I had a newer bike with stock headlights that I was not fond of on my lowrider. And I ended up filling up my gas tank. And then as I was pulling off, the gas tank, for whatever reason, showed to be empty. Now I just filled it. I could see the gas in my tank, but I showed on the digital monitor that it went out. So apparently there was a sensor that went out, and I did not know the ins and outs of counting your mileage. Like, I still could see the odometer, I could still see the miles that I had, and I knew roughly at 160 miles on my lowrider ST and the load I was carrying, I could actually fill up around 160 and be full and safe per ride, right? And but I was reading at least 210 on the dash with my riding style, right? 200, 208 on the dash, right? And as far as mileage was concerned, and so I got a little panicky. Called some friends, called my boy CB, asked him about it, and then the next day I tried to have it towed to El Paso. I was so far out that even my hog membership, I didn't have AAA and stuff at the time. My boy CB, shout outs to CB, check out his channel. CB is a good rider. He's a rare breed member. He told me I should look at that Premier package. So I did. I looked at the Premier package on the AAA and got it. However, prior to that, I'd counted on my hog membership, and I got no love, not necessarily from Hog, but for the people that would have took the contract. They didn't want to ride me 90 miles to El Paso to get to Barnett Harley to get my bike looked at, and that was the closest Harley. So know your machine. I'm not going to beat this one down. Rule number 4, hydrate, eat, get your energy up, all right? Eat like you depend on it, or rather, your life depends on it. Eat, drink water, drink electrolytes. I've already talked about these things. Dehydration is real. You don't want to be wearing all your gear out in the middle of the desert, even in the fall or winter, and not have good hydration. You never know what might happen. You need to be hydrated. Listen, if you haven't done this, master the art of situational awareness. Scan your area. Please scan your area. Look left and right. Look over your shoulder before you take a lane. If you're not a seasoned rider, don't be out here trying to pop wheelies. Don't ride with the crowd. Ride your ride. That goes into rule number 6. Ride your ride, not someone else's. If you got somebody doing, 100 miles down the roadway and you're not used to going that fast, man, you better ride your ride. Ride the speed limit. I don't care if you're riding 5 miles under the speed limit. Get in the slow lane and be comfortable. All right. It's just because you're in the group doesn't mean you have to ride like the experts you're with. Hopefully they have some social intelligence and they understand that you're not the strongest rider in the group and ride to your ability, and they don't leave you behind. That's because I personally wouldn't want to ride with a group that doesn't understand that about a rider. I mean, we came together, we leave together is my concept. Rule number 7, protect the bond, okay? Your touring bike is not just transportation, it's your partner in the journey. Treat it with respect, clean it, listen to it, maintain it. If you hear that knock in your inline six or your V-twin that doesn't sound right, take it to the doctor. You take your dog to the doctor. You take your cat to the doctor when they don't feel right or they sound funny. Take your bike to the doctor. You know what I'm saying? And the doctor being a certified mechanic who could tell you the ins and outs of your motorcycle. Respect the bike, all right? The bike is what stands between you and a bad day, okay? Out in the middle of the desert or out in the middle of the forest somewhere. Protect the bike, and it will protect you. Listen, touring is more than a relationship between a rider and a machine, okay? It's a bond that we're never going to be able to break if you're taking care of your bike. Respect the journey, respect the machine, respect yourself. Be safe, ride safe, and enjoy the ride. Listen, if you got yourself a motorcycle in your garage collecting dust, pull it out, dust it off, gas it up, and enjoy the ride.